All right, welcome back, everybody, to my interview series. We are back at episode 3 with an absolute legend in the gaming community. Now, you might recognize him, Sergeant Frank Onion Woods. You may know him.
I'm not a fucking onion.
You may know him. You may love him from the Black Ops series. He's also in the recent VHS franchise and a few other amazing things. Mate, how are you? How you going?
I'm so fucking good, man.
That is so cool to hear, mate. We got the Onion himself.
No, not. Stop that. I'll hang
s-
up right now. I'm not a
Oh,
fucking onion.
sorry, I got the script wrong.
I'm
My
a
bad.
T-bone fucking steak.
Sorry, script was wrong. My bad, mate. The real
Well, it's a huge contention because that Woods would never fucking say that. He's not going to steal a line from Shrek.
Mhm.
That's not going to be. And there's so many opportunities. That great way to start fucking New Year's. Great.
Mate, the real question I want to ask you: have you been to
Okay.
Australia? I've always wanted to know.
I have not been to Australia. I have people in Australia. I'd love to go to Australia.
Where would you want to go if you could?
When or why?
Where would you want to go if you could go?
The Outback.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, the Outback. I mean, I don't know. My friend lives in Melbourne. He has a lot of good things to say about it, but he's a little fucking nuts. So I'm not sure I want to go where he is. He's crazy. He's crazy. And then I've seen so many things about the Outback, and so that's probably it. It's the kind of place I would go, and hopefully I could meet locals. No, go here instead.
Woods.
So that's kind of how I try to look at it. I think.
I mean, as a Sydney resident, I will always throw trash over to Melbourne. But I think Sydney.
Well, what's in Sydney that I should know besides the Opera House? That's pretty special.
What's in Sydney? We got some great beaches in Sydney. I mean, that's kind of Australia in general. Actually, beaches everywhere. There's a lot of great places in Sydney, I think.
I'm not sure I want to be any kind of shark food. You have a lot of sharks in Sydney, right?
Mate, I don't think sharks would want to go after Woods. You just turn around and give them one of your lines, and they'll just disappear.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but Woods is just a fucking character I play. I don't really, I don't get to respawn constantly over 1,000 missions. So I go, God bless you, man. But
damn, you break it, you expose the truth.
I'm destroying the whole fucking mystery, aren't I?
Wow, the theory is now gone. We know the answer.
Yeah, well,
when it comes to
yeah. Do I need my Santa hat on for this? Are we past Santa? Because I'm bearded up to be a Santa.
I mean, this is coming out in about 4 days, so I feel like if you want to wear it, you can.
Hang on a sec. Let me get this. The Santa hat's right up there with the guitars. So. Oh, motherfucker. Here we go. Yeah.
We got the Santa hat. Oh, mate, looking great. Looking great.
Ho. I love them hose.
Put that on a shirt, I reckon.
With
Woods.
I love them hose.
Mate, if I ever meet you, that's my Christmas present. That shirt right there, that quote is going to be there. Mate, one of the things I wanted to ask you, with you playing Woods, to so many people who play Call of Duty, it is such a memorable and iconic character. And I wanted to know what your thoughts is on having such an iconic character in the Call of Duty family, where everyone knows you and respects you and loves you. So
there is as many answers to that as there are people who I'm talking to. I have my disposition is entirely of one of gratitude. I receive an opportunity to build a character from the ground up. I mean, literally day one, my input was received, and I got to write. I wrote all the dialogue in Black Ops 2, Black Ops 4. Did a lot of writing in Black Ops 1. So I got an opportunity to really invest myself and my creativity in building a character. So for me, it's just wow. This is a great and. Without the fans, without people paying attention, I don't exist. I'm not, so it really is about serving the community, serving the fans of the franchise, and nothing more, because without that, some of these great opportunities I've received in my life that are rare and extraordinary would not happen. So I live in a constant state of grace, man. It's like I rarely do I wake up without saying, wow, it's another great day, another groovy day, baby. So that really is my entire disposition. Um, and I get to meet guys like you. I talk to guys like you. You're in Australia. I mean, one day I may come to Australia and I'll call you, and I'll have a friend in Australia.
You
You
will?
can't, you see, you can't find that in most other business, careers where you can make friends because of something you did and something that was fun. It wasn't like I worked at this shit. It's like this. I'm playing Army, for Christ's sakes. This is great. I'm playing Army. So it's a constant state of grace and a constant state of gratitude.
And you mentioned that you wrote your lines for Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 4, but was it for Black Ops 1 that stuff was written for you, but you did a lot of improvisation on that as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of writing done. There's a team. I mean, it's a massive project, and they have teams of guys who write, and a lot of them are super talented. Um, with me, because I was a hockey coach, I coached ice hockey for 3 decades. I have a rule is that you can't shame somebody into progress. It just destroys your ability. So a lot of these things, people mistake Woods for an asshole or a hard ass. He's not. He's intense. He wants you to be the best because you being good means I survive. The better you are, the higher the chance of me and my team surviving. So when words came in and lines came in that just didn't seem to make any. And as an actor, I have rules. Like I don't say something if I can act it, don't say it. And a lot of times you get lines that aren't necessary. I can act that. You know, I'm angry. You don't have to say that. You can just be angry. So the things like that I would modify. Just let me be pissed off. I'm going to tell somebody I'm pissed off. You'll know. You'll get it. You got to trust your actor is going to save you from writing that kind of stuff. And the other thing was a lot of it was just technical. Like I had done tons of research on the Vietnam War. I know soldiers. I spent time at the gun range. I trained. I've been trained on different movies. So certain things I knew were effective, right? So I just modify that. And I don't want to position myself as arrogant saying, well, I changed it. No, I didn't. I just kind of took things and modified a lot of it. Black Ops 4, they would send me, what their wish list was, and then I would woodsify. I'd take what they written and I would write it out as Woods would think it. So that's how it happened most. And a lot of it was just having great actors around me who could respond and react. And a lot of times it's just the right place, right time, and magic just happens. So
Yeah, you worked with some incredible people on the Black Ops franchise. Like you had Sam Worthington, you had a bunch of great people. And from memory, was it an Ice Cube who played Bowman as well?
no, I never met Ice Cube or Sam. Bowman was played by an amazing actor named Emerson Brooks. He went on to he still has a great career. He does a lot of TV, great actor, had a great chemistry with him, former military. So he played Bowman the whole time. So I had a relationship with him, but they brought Ice Cube in to basically just do the lines. So all the body language that was there, because this is full performance capture to get your face, your body. So all the body language, two guys who are buddies who have been in the trenches, that was real between Emerson and I. And so once you lay words over that, or because once you see, you get a feel for what the actor's doing, and when you come in and copy somebody, you kind of do like an overlay of what they're doing. You kind of match. You kind of watch and match. You see, you can imitate somebody else, fairly readily. Ice Cube is such a unique vocal quality anyway. So he made it. I mean, he's very distinct. It's him. Now I'm not sure that's how guys talked in 1967, but it's like that. I wasn't sure that rap vibe, but it was great for the game. So obviously it worked.
What was your favorite mission in Black Ops One? I'd actually,
Oh,
yeah. Do you have one?
to me, it's just one long experience. I didn't really play Black Ops One a whole lot when it came out, and I'm still having some. I think Kason, probably Kason, yeah, Kason. I think that may be it. Um, Although what's Kason or the taking the helicopter up the river, that's always fun. It varies. It depends on my mood. I don't have one distinct game, mission. They're all. It depends. It just depends. On
Depends
my
on the mood.
mood.
I
On
think
my mood.
I think one of my favorites from Black Ops One is when you sneak it into the compound and you had the karambit and you knife the two guards and you swap your uniforms and you go straight in,
Right.
like, or the Russian roulette one, because I didn't realize this until I was older, because I didn't understand when I was young. But you and Bowman actually planned the whole thing out. Like when you got the gun and then you put it on the table, you saw the bullet in the chamber, and you're telling him like right o'clock, like 6 o'clock, and you planned it whole out, and that was really cool. I didn't understand it until I was older, unfortunately, but that was a cool scene, and I'd love to know like what it was like shooting that Russian roulette scene in Black Ops One.
Well, that was the very first day of my working officially as Woods. I had entered the French. I had started working for Treyarch back in in September of 2009. They brought me in to test the technology for performance capture, and then they liked me enough and asked me to stick around to do a level test, a green light test, for a couple of just to test the game out. And then they liked me for that, and they asked me to come back to do a second one. And then what happened was Christmas came, and these guys are my buddies, right? I mean, I got to be like drinking friends with most of these, Adam Rosas and all these guys. When you work that closely with people, you become friends, right? And I was doing cold case, I was doing movies, so I was a really busy actor at the time. So Christmas comes, and I hadn't heard from these guys. Like, God, this is weird. And then I saw in the casting breakdowns they are casting for a new role for this video game. And the role was originally it was called Sergeant Frank Barnes. And then it got moved. And then all of a sudden there's a casting notice for Sergeant Frank Woods. And the description of the character is like, it's me. I mean, it's my height, my weight, my disposition. And I go, wait a minute. And I couldn't get an audition for it. Like I wasn't in contact with any of these guys. It wasn't until almost March that I finally got a call. And make a long story short, Activision had hired somebody to do it. He was a star. Like they wanted a big name for the role. And the director, the director and him were friends. And apparently the story I'm hearing is what I was told is that they're trying to get the guy to do what I was doing. Like, see how the guy holds the gun, see how the guy moves, see how that guy in the demo moves, see what he sounds like. And so finally they said, well, fuck it, just hire the guy who did the demo, and probably get it. So that's what they did. They brought me in after the fact, and the director didn't like me. Because I replaced, I think it was his nephew or something. And so people are imperfect, right? So first day of work, I'm a little shitty that I have to actually audition for the role I created. So I'm a little, but it's a job. I want to be cool. So I show up. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes to put all the dots on, right? And they get you in this tight suit. And I don't eat because I don't eat when I work, especially when I got these white dots on my lips. I'll swallow them and I got to recalibrate. So I don't eat. So it's like I get there at 6 in the morning. I'm waiting. The shooting. And then we break for lunch. And I've been there like, I can't eat. So I'm like, it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been there maybe 6, 7 hours. I'm fucking fuming, right? And I'm just cranky. So finally brings me on, and I'm looking around and hit all these guys who really don't know what they're doing is on set. Like you got these little guys with fake guns acting tough, and I'm just pissed. So the very first time I walk into the scene. The guy walks up and the guy goes, "Don't you touch me! Don't you fucking touch me!" Like I was just kind of pushing people around and shit, and that's what they kept. They kept them. Let's go. And that was that changed the entire trajectory of the game. They had to reshoot everything at that point because the energy just went from 0 to 147 and one. I said, "You fucking touch me." And that was my first day on set. And then the whole "you can't kill me" thing. That was the very first thing we ever did. And we had to reshoot it a couple of times because the energy, they had to get new guys in there because they weren't bringing the energy like we started. And then he had a Jeremy Dunn, who's a great utility actor. He's almost everything he's a motion capture guy, but he puts a bug in his ear and he does the dialogue. And he was great because he's an athlete, and he was like, we're two jocks. It was fun. And so that was the first day of shooting for that. That was it. That was "You Can't Kill Me" happened because I was really just shitty about being there for almost 7 hours. And I knew this guy was fucking with me too. So I was just like,
Well, I feel like the energy you bring to Woods and the lines that you said, I still see it now, like all on social media. Every now and again, I'll see an edit or I'll see a clip of your line and everyone's. I felt so old when somebody in the comments asked what Call of Duty this was, and I'm like, oh no, that people are asking that. No. When I saw that, I felt so old. But
yeah, it'll do that.
I think one of my one of my favorite lines is one of the Vietnam missions, I think, and someone was like, "Oh, you look like hammered shit," and you're like, "This is Nam, baby," and you just start walking away. Like the lines and how you say it are great, and I think people still appreciate it to this day. And
well, I think what it is there's a sense of irreverence. Everybody wants to not give a fuck. Everybody wants to be so self-empowered where I don't care what I say to who I say it to. And Woods is that. He's just irreverent, and he's also, he can back it up. Like he'll pick a fight. He doesn't, he'll choose his battles. He doesn't have to fight everybody. So when he turns, instead of just being shitty with Hudson, like, yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, Jason Hudson, CIA. Yeah, right. I know you fuckers. That's that's the subtext. Like, yeah, right. And Mason's my buddy. Mason, good to see you. All the subtext it's all about subtext, right? All those lines have several layers of subtext, which is why they're so gritty. I try to have four things. I got to have, my intention's got to be, I serve the script, I serve the character, I serve the what the director's vision is, and then I have a secret. So if I get four of those things into the line, then you get a really interesting read. There's so many layers to it, like, and that's the beauty of being able to play Woods, that you can layer them up because there is this absolute irreverent abandon. Like there's fearlessness, and then there's courage. And courage is going through fear when it faces you. Fearlessness is the absence of fear. You don't fucking care. And that's why I think Woods is so attractive in the way we portrayed him, because he just doesn't fucking care. He didn't care who you are or what you are. He doesn't. And people want to be like that. We want to be able to go through life and not give a fuck. And that's the attraction. Everything he does is like, he doesn't fucking care. He just he'll do it anyways. Fuck it, I'll do it.
Covered in blood, sweat, and dirt, doesn't give a crap about what's going on.
That's the thing. He doesn't care. He doesn't. He has so much confidence, and he has so much experience that fun. Let's do it. Fun. It'll be fun.
I think there was a scene, and I was just laughing just thinking about it. There was a scene where you grab a photo, and you're like, the handsome one, that's me. The ugly one's your father. And I was just laughing because you have so many of these, like, funny
but
moments.
You have to see it, but it's the way he does it. Yeah, this should picture your dad. See the handsome bastard? That's me. The ugly one's your dad. Yep. Yeah, it's just the attitude. It's just the irreverence for any type of proprieties. Like, and just what again, that's why he's so much fun. Is that he's just irreverent. Hey, see that handsome guy? That's me. Ugly one's your dad. That's just just again when you and I get to write that kind of stuff too. I got to write all that old man Wood stuff. I got to write, and it was I get the script and I take it. I go in, I sit with Dave, the director, and I say, okay, let's do this, and let's have some fun here. Let him be tough here. Let this be here, and that was great. Yeah, it's fun stuff, man.
Because it also reminded me of two other scenes. There's one in the end credits, I think, of Black Ops 2, where you're doing this concert, and then they say, "Are you ready?" And then you just get out of your wheelchair, and you're like, "Let's do this." And then Menendez is like, What the hell? Oh, that shit? Oh, I'm just lazy." And it's just like, you have these scenes, or like, when you're in the one of the mansion, and you're like, "I don't want none of that diet crap. Give me the real stuff." And it's just like, he just stays true to his character the whole way through. Like,
yeah, that's yeah. Turn the camera on, dipshit. Yeah, that's all that stuff. That was me fucking with Michael Rooker because he wasn't working with me that day. That was Jeremy Dunn playing Rooker, doing Rooker's line, and I know that because Mike's got a bit of he's a really great actor and great guy. So fucking with him, like making him challenge him in the scene, like he's gonna lose the scene, like hey, dipshit. I know he can't answer me because he's not there to have a verbal response, like have a little spark. Because on set, he probably would have gone off script too, but he wasn't there, so he had to fucking deal with it. So it was me fucking with Michael just a little bit, with the lines, calling me, hey, dipshit, give me a soda. None of that diet crap,
And it stays iconic to these days. I always see edits of it on TikTok, and which actually reminds me of a question. With all these funny scenes and memorable scenes, I wanted to know, like, what was your favorite scene in the film, and what was do you have like a funniest, like a lot of laughs when filming one, or?
Dude, there's so many.
It's a hard question. I do apologize.
There are literally hundreds. I think if I had to boil it down, it had to be Black Ops 4. The scene where we're trying to wrap up the whole canon, and Woods walks up to the boys like, it's you. It's always you. It's you in the box. It's always you. Don't worry about it. I'm on it. That was probably because that had so many had so much information in it. It's me explaining that the whole thing is this whole Black Ops experience was in Mason's head, and that I'm his friend. I'm here to save you. I'm here to take care of you. So it really covered a tough guy, but it showed him caring for his best friend, which I thought was a really great opportunity to create Woods as a different what's more of the same, but just more depths, more details to Woods, And I guess the other one is the introduction in the for the specialist HQ. My name is Woods. That was a fun scene too. And like the lady says, so that was a good day. Those are good days.
One of a question that I wanted to ask, with you, writing lines for Woods and Black Ops 2 and all that, and you having a little bit of experience playing Woods, with Cold War and Black Ops 6, even though the role was recast, would you still have loved to help write the lines for Woods?
Oh my God. I just, I have no idea what's going on there, and it's fine. I have nothing but gratitude to Activision and Treyarch for what they let me do for 12 years. So I have a hard time making critiques, but what I do think is that there's a lot of meat left on the bone, so to speak. There's a lot of connective tissue that I could have brought. There's things that I when I watch Cold War, oh my God, we could have connected this scene back to Weaver at the Cosmodrome. We could have taken this and connected to what Wood says here in the vault. Because I'm probably the only surviving member who's lived through both little storylines. I think the whole new writing team came in. So a lot of this back office conversations, I had, hundreds of hours of conversation with Dave over bottles of wine, over the character projections. I knew the writers, so we are always integrated. What's the story here? What's happening here? And I sat through Craig Houston's 2 hour dissertation on what Black Ops 2 was. That's, I think, I actually have a video of that. But these people who took over didn't have access to this information. Maybe they did, but I just think that, yeah, Wood McGrath reached out, hey, we're going to do this. You want to give us a hand? Sure, love to. I don't know what happened there. Maybe you never will, and that's okay. But yeah, it would have been great to bring in, just there's so much things we could have connected up and really kind of close the gap on the narrative. They had it make more sense. Like, where was Mason for 30 years? Where was he? Did I know about it? I have a whole backstory about that. Where did Mason and where did these people meet? What happened? Like, in my thought, because I never got a script, I just got scenes. So I had to build an entire history for this guy. Sometimes it matched, sometimes it didn't. But for me, Mason and Woods became buddies in a place called School of the Americas in Panama, which is an actual place where they sent the SAW guys to get the train up for jungle warfare, and also trained the Sandinistas and things. So I really thought that watching Cold War, wow, we really could have connected everything right through School of the Americas, which brought in Oliver North, which brought in Iran. So there's all these things. That I thought, if we focus on that. So I saw a lot of opportunities, but I don't think there are people there who were part of the original concept team. I could be wrong. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of ideas I wish I could have contributed, but so be it.
Because
I contributed a lot.
Because obviously, when it came to the new games, like, I think everyone did really well. Like, everyone did fantastic. But as someone who played Cold War when it came out, especially the campaign, as I mainly buy Call of Duties for the campaigns, there was a few lines in Cold
Yeah.
War where I was like, Woods, I don't think Woods would say that. Like, the mannequin scene or the onion line, or there's just a few things where, like, I think the actors portrayed it really well, but there's just lines where I don't think Woods would say that.
Yeah. Well, they're at a disadvantage because as you're talking to me, me and Woods are pretty much the same guy. That's just how I talk. It's just how I act. So I'm not sure if when you're brought in to imitate somebody or to kind of have a facsimile of that, you're gonna miss because it's not organic. It's not something that you've as an actor you try to come from your experience as much as you can, and we have different experiences, so he's going to have different takes, but he's also sitting on this running. He stepped on this train going 25, 30 miles an hour. You got to jump. That train's already in progress, so you get the benefit of that, but you get the you're left behind because you weren't there from the beginning, so it's hard to understand how to do these things. And a lot of those lines, I don't know, man. I can't speak for the writers or the directors. It just sounds like they were trying to expand it and make things relevant to a new group, like the Shrek line and the mannequins thing. Like, all right, I see a lot. I see a lot of options there. Other than that, and I don't know. Again, that's me. I don't know what they're shooting for. I don't. And that scene was an effort at a type of humor. I think that I get it. I see what they're doing. I see it. I probably would have talked about it. So maybe we can do this here, or if we do it this way, maybe I can add this to it. Now, granted, a lot of my ideas got blown out of the water because they're just, that game came out in a very politically correct time. So a lot of my writing just got, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. You can't do that. No, you can't do that. So there's a lot of sensitivities that I probably would have stepped on in the first place. So yeah, what are you gonna do?
What you were saying before, you and Woods very similar. I think honestly, Woods is really good at portraying James C. Burns. Like his acting for James is so good. Like I think he does a really good job as acting as James C. Burns. So he portrays the character really well.
Well, if they shave the beard and dye the hair, we're pretty much identical. So, you
Mhm.
know,
If you did come back to Black Ops
yeah.
6 and Cold War, obviously you would have to do the campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone. Would you be happy with doing all that to come back to the
Oh,
franchise?
well, first of all, it breaks the only heartbreak I have is I didn't get to do zombies. You know, I was built for fucking zombies, man. My woods was built for zombies. I have so many one-liners for zombies because I love Outbreak. You know, I play Outbreak. That's the only time I play. Um, and it kills me. There's so many great one-liners. I'm not going to give them away because that's my bread and butter, but I have 30 or 40 one-liners. They're just hysterical. When I play with my friends, they just fucking kill them. And I was going to do a sort of a download pack. Did you see how I did the thing for the onion line? I did a whole bunch of. I replaced those. You know, I have so many for zombies, but it's no time or energy to do that. You know, that's not it's not productive to do that. So, but yeah, it's like there have been zombies would have been great. I would have loved, and I bothered the zombies team every day. Every time I went to Treyarch, I said, put me in zombies, put me in zombies. So what are you gonna do?
As I was asking that question, I was actually just thinking of the one-liners because you bring this energy and with your lines in the campaign, you would be great in zombies because I could imagine like you would like the other characters would do something and Woods not given an absolute crap about what other people think. He would go straight in and say what he wants to say and oh, if this door's too expensive, mate, he's going at it, you know? Like I think he'd have some great lines, so
Open the fucking box. Let's go.
oh yeah. Or like when you spin the mystery box and you get something crap, you know, you just
Yeah, fucking Activision. I'd say shit like that. Fucking Activision. Come on. Yeah, that's
break.
kind of stuff. That's what they would have done is break the fourth wall. If I get like some kind of nerfed out weapon, I go, fucking Activision. Seriously, I paid $100 for this shit. You
and
know,
and
stuff
people
like that would have been fun.
and people would love that. Like that just
Wouldn't,
hearing
wouldn't that have been great? Wouldn't it? That's why I want to be. I have so many things like that where I would break the fourth wall, and you know what the fourth wall is, right?
yeah,
When you
yeah, yeah,
talk,
yeah.
yeah. There's so many like, oh, let's just turn this into the mayhem. You know, it's like, you
Or
know,
like
what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? You're not gonna kill shit with that. Come on, roll again. Don't be so cheap. Spend a few coins on this. You know.
Well, thank you for answering all these Call of Duty questions. I think I've known more. You've answered them pretty well, but I'm moving on now. There is I didn't even
Am I being tested?
you're not being tested, no. But I didn't even
Will there
know
be a
this.
test afterwards?
That I didn't even know this, but I actually just found out that you're in the SWAT show. You appeared in one episode as a truck driver in the convoy, and I didn't even know this.
No, no, I was I was transporting currency and then we got hijacked. And I was actually having an affair with the officer that was came to see me. Yeah.
I'm
That
just
never went.
I'm just laughing though because I didn't realize, and then you said something in it. And I'm like, wait a minute, this guy seems very. I know this guy, I swear. And then you just got dragged out of the truck, you straight to the ground. Like when they did
Yeah.
that, was that a stunt double? Because it looked like you just got straight dragged to the ground, head hit the concrete. You know.
No, we did it in two pieces.
Okay.
So you got the first piece where they grab me, and then we cut, and then it's me just about 6 inches above the ground, just falling into a mat. That's all. So a lot of times the stunts they look like it happened, but because of the angle of the cameras, you get me falling out of the truck and then landing. So it wasn't me, dropping 6 feet off a semi tractor. Would have broke my shoulder.
What was it like working with the team of SWAT? Because that show's been going on for many seasons now. So
Well,
like,
it was great. One of the guys is a hockey buddy of mine, and so he's one of the leads in the show. I do a lot of TV, man. I've been in tons and tons of TV shows and movies. I love TV. The money's great. The food is excellent. and you get residuals. I mean, and it's simple stuff, especially because I'm not like I did an episode of Hawaii Five O, right? We shot in Hawaii, one of the best vacations of my life, man. I was there for 2 weeks. I worked 5 days out of 2 weeks. I was in Hawaii for that was great, you know. I love doing TV. I love doing TV. It's easy. Again, my job is not terribly hard. I got to show up, hit my mark, try to remember my line and move on. That's it. And TV is a very simple thing, like where you get a lot of room. Like I got a lot of room in Call of Duty to improvise and change and modify, and movies as well. Some movies you really get to like I just did a movie in October, and I got to really kind of open things up quite a bit. TV you don't. They need you to say the line as written with the punctuation as written. Like, oh, there's a period there. You gotta stop there. So they have it because it's all very, very much format. It's formulated. It's formatted. They need it. This scene's got to be done in 1 minute and 9 seconds because they have a commercial coming up. You know, so that's the thing. You really have to be able to just nail it and move on. And plus, if you're not the star, you get 1 or 2 takes tops. And if you start fucking things up beyond 1 or 2 takes, you probably get fired because it's not about me. And my job is to hit my mark, say my line, move the story forward, make the star look good, and go home and cash my paycheck. That's all it is. It's the art is very limited. For my case, it's just show up. Like that's a 1-2 day job, SWAT. So it wasn't,
It's kind of
very
funny.
simple.
It's kind of funny because you always pop up in like stuff that I watch, and I always go, "Where I know this guy. This guy looks
Yeah,
familiar." Or
yeah.
because you were recently in the VHS franchise, which is really
Oh,
cool.
Stork. I love that. Yeah,
That was
yeah.
really cool to see you. And I remember watching it, and I was looking at you. You're standing up, and your face was a bit dark. And I swear, I was like, "I swear, this guy looks so familiar. Like, where's his voice from?" And then I remembered, bloody Woods. Woods is back, but obviously you.
I try whenever I can. I try to throw a little kind of a little Easter egg to the Call of Duty fans. I always do something. Either I'll look a certain way, or I'll make a line. Have a say it a certain way that's very reminiscent of Woods. And I do that a lot. And what I do, I try to throw a little Easter egg in there, see if everybody picks up on it.
What was it like filming that? Because the set of your segment in VHS looks so cool. Like I was watching the behind the scenes of it, and it just. What was it like working with the team, and what was your just
They
whole
had it
experience?
behind the scenes for that. I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it.
They
This is
did,
behind. This is
yeah, but
behind the scenes.
I don't think it featured many of the actors, but it featured the set design, and it was really cool how they did it.
Well, I mean, you're talking about well, I don't want to give it too much away because people haven't seen it yet. But the
Yeah, so
creature, the creature that was real. That was a puppet. They had 4 people operating this, and as an actor to walk in and actually see that in front, and it's covered in gore and goo, and problem was we had these really cheap fake rifles, so there's no recoil, and I just had a shotgun, so I had a fake because it's stat. There's no it wasn't functional, so I couldn't reload. I couldn't recharge the gun. Um, it was good. We shot at this old ranch house out in Riverside, I think it was, basically out in the desert, and that was weird because like 4 stories. It's an old rancher, and this house is kind of not run down yet, but it's pretty much empty and just run down. But you tell once upon a time this is a huge inn or some big estate house, and just going through it, you could feel like just this is bad shit happened here. There's pockets in which you walk in. This is too creepy in this room. Some of the rooms are too creepy to walk in, man. Like and dirty and everything you saw there wasn't set design. That was what the house looked like, and that was cool. That was great.
I do
I
love
love.
like the found footage, like body cam style films and all that. They look
Yeah,
great. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that. I love
yeah,
that. Um, and I wanted to ask you because I actually thought of a question. You were saying you had to fake the recoil on the shotgun. Now,
yeah.
one of the things I do notice in a lot of TV and movies, but with the recoil, that's one of my things. I hate how recoil on some things. Like there was a movie and this guy was shooting a rifle and he didn't actually move. like he was shooting multiple rounds, standing up in this awkward position, and there was no recoil. And I wanted to know if you have any like TV or movie like problems that you notice, or things that just don't really make sense.
All the time, all the time. Well, I'm a science kid. I'm a bit of a nerd, you know,
What?
and
Frank Woods is in it. What?
yeah, yeah. And when the science doesn't add up, like no, that's not, the physics wouldn't allow that. That wouldn't happen. One of the interesting things is, I cut my teeth in the business basically being a bad guy, being a cop, a soldier, being a guy who is an authority figure. And I've been in a lot of fights and with a lot of little girls who beat the fuck. I'm like, every now and then you get on a set with this, you have to have a fight scene. Of course, a girl defeats five heavily trained, heavily armed men. This girl should weigh 132 pounds, right? She's gonna beat the fuck out of four guys. Like, all right, I get that, but at the same time, like, no, I've been punched in the head enough. I've been like, when someone gets hit by like a pipe, no, you're not. You don't get up from that. Or I've been hit by a baseball bat in the head, dude. I was out for days. You don't get up and kick nine people's head. You take a pipe to the head or some big head injury. You don't bounce. Those things make me a little crazy, but I get it. It's fantasy. I get it.
I think there was a scene in Scream where one of the main actors, they got stabbed, hit, and they're in the hospital
Yeah,
bed, and they just like they got really hurt, and then all of a sudden they come swinging with a pipe, and
yeah.
then
It's like, okay, but I guess that's movies though. It's fantasy. You got to remember, movies are fantasy. It's not about but you want reality, go watch a documentary. That's what it is. So it's just fantasy. And yeah. So the rifle stuff, I think, compared to even 30 years ago, 40, the weapons handling is, you have to look authentic. You can't in fact, I've been on things that told me, don't act like you know what you're doing. You got to be less controlled here, because you're not a trained, in this project, you're not a trained military, you're not ex-military. You're a guy with a gun, so you don't really know. So don't handle it improperly. And so a lot of times you have to actually go back from your training to make it feel like it fits the scenario you're playing.
speaking of movies, this is kind of a blast from the past for you, but I saw that you had a very small role in the Transformers movie back in 2007, I think it was. And I just wanted to ask, because I
Yeah.
do I do love the Transformers series, so I wanted to ask,
Mhm.
you know, what was that like? Because I know you played a Secret Service agent, I think it was,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah. It was amazing. Michael Bay he's a phenomenal director for what he does. He is the best at it. Runs a great set. I got to spend time with a couple of Navy SEALs, because that scene took 2 weeks to shoot, and I was there for 2 weeks. And we have a lot of downtime, and there's a bunch of guys, some Navy SEALs, and I was new. It's like my first jobs. And I got to spend a lot of time with a couple of these Navy SEALs, and they had absolute disdain for me. I had no. It's like, these guys are like, they're superheroes, right? So I started talking to him, and I just knew, as a coach, a way to get people to really connect with you is like, have them teach you something. And so they're talking something about my weapons handling wasn't right. I said, well, fucking tell me how to be right. And once I did that, it was like, all of a sudden these guys, no. And so I got this hands-on training for 2 weeks by three Navy SEALs who were basically just out of rotation. And we spent a couple of days. I go, okay, how would you actually clear Air Force One? He goes, well, how would you clear this building? And so they kind of took me through steps, and how to properly go in and kind of clear housing, the hand signs and the language. So I spent out of that 2 weeks, I had a lot of time to sit there and really talk and learn from a bunch of. So I think that really informed, because that was early in my career. I didn't start really acting until 2002, 2003. So it was early on in my career, and it really helped me to understand, oh shit, I need skills. I can't fake it, because people are fucking watching.
it's really bad to admit, but I was only born 1 year before the Transformers movie came out, back in 2006. It's really bad
I
to
got
admit.
fucking, I got boots older than you are.
Probably, I wouldn't be
No,
surprised.
I do. I do. I have a pair of Fry boots I bought back in like 1994. I still have them. I
I
just
think that's yeah,
resold them.
just a little bit older than me, just by a little bit. Um,
Yeah. Older than your parents.
is there a franchise, both in live action and video games, that you would want to be a part of? Nothing.
That's not what I do. I really I try to position each day where whatever comes is meant to be there. And my job is to find the opportunity that exists and then be prepared for anything that comes my way. So and I have no problem spending, like, I'm working on this new song, right? I've been here every night this week, working 8, 10 hours a day as best I can, or to the point where I think I'm just overworking things. But I really try to just, I don't want to get off spiritual and shit here, but if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Opportunity that's meant for you will not pass you by. But the responsibility is be ready. Always be in shape. I stay in shape. I play hockey a lot. I train every day. I keep my skills up. I keep my acting skills up. So if an opportunity comes, I'm 100% ready for it. And that. So if something comes my way, great. But I rarely do I watch interviews with people, because then I make it a bit envious. Like I can't do that to myself. Everyone's got their own journey, and what I have, I have. And there's a saying I love. It's not having what you want. It's wanting what you have. So I have a good life. I really get to sit here and be creative all day and not worry about feeding myself. I'm really in a great place. I live a life of an artist, which is, I can't ask for more than that.
I mean,
I would love to buy. I'd love to have a lake house someplace, but that may be coming. Who knows?
imagine
And
if,
I'd love a TV series, but I don't know. There's nothing I'm sitting there pining over. I really like where I'm at. So
imagine booking a role that is a TV series where your character owns a lake house. Imagine if the universe would like put that into it, where that's the thing that happens.
well, I did that. I was in Chicago, and they put me up, and I was at a lake. They put me on a lake. I lived on a lake
Oh wow.
for 6 weeks. Yeah. So the idea, lake house is just like sort of a euphemism for me. Like, that's, if I have a bigger, grander theme, I have a vision of what I want that looks like. And it's definitely a house with a recording studio and a lake where I can take care and house hundreds of stray dogs. That's the dream right there, to have enough money, enough space where if dogs are in danger of being put down, I just, hey, send them to me, and hire a bunch of people, give them trucks and vans and planes. Here, go pick up these dogs, bring them here. And I would love to do that. That's something that's how I like to go out. I'm in the last quarter of my game, right? So I want to go out around dogs, a lot of fucking dogs, man. I love dogs.
Really cool to hear. Just I can imagine that. I could see all of them running around. You're sitting on your porch, with
Yeah,
hat on and
yeah,
everything. Just
yeah.
what actually got you into
Drinking,
acting?
drinking my water.
Yeah.
The short of it is, I was a hockey coach for many years, right? And I had a hockey school, and I do hockey schools, and I train kids. And then one day, I just really stopped liking kids. Fucking hated them. So I couldn't sustain a career if I hated kids. Not that I just the behave. I think I learned as much as going to learn from being a hockey coach, and I wasn't willing to endure other people's issues. A lot of these kids just, I can't make you want to learn something. I can encourage you, but having somebody who's a dedicated student, that's such a gift for a teacher. To have somebody who really wants to learn and who takes information and uses it. And I just got to a point where hockey is such an expensive sport that a lot of the kids get involved were a little entitled and a little spoiled. And I just got sick of trying to be a dancing monkey. Just try it. You're like, I can't, I can't do that anymore. And so what happened was, so how am I going to make a living if I'm? And I never worked a day in my life. Either been a hockey player, hockey coach. I was partners in a restaurant for a little bit, and I had done a hockey commercial early on, a Wheaties commercial. And I was still playing hockey, right? And I made a lot of money off of it. And then over the years, I lived in New York and I was coaching in New York. And every now and then, because I did this one commercial, I got to do another commercial. But I wasn't out there actively trying to be an actor. I would just, play hockey or just walk around some attitude, which I could do. But actually sitting down and knowing how to be on set and knowing how to, really do what an actor does, I had no clue. And it wasn't until like around 2000, I decided I'm going to try that. And I started investing a lot of time and, energy, getting, training myself to do it. That's what happened. And I just thought it'd be an easy way to make money. That's what I thought it was.
And now look at you played such an iconic character, and
Yeah.
now you just get to do what you want to do for fun, And mate, you're
Basically, yeah.
wearing a Christmas hat doing an interview. You couldn't get any better than this, honestly. I mean, someone who just
Yeah, it's like if you had told me when I started this thing that I'd have what I would have the career I have today, I'd be like, oh man, that's too much to ask, Now it's like, oh yeah, this is great, What else is out there? So this is that, and that's what's next. Like it keeps coming, and I keep preparing myself for the next thing. Adapt, adapt, adapt. Keep adapting to what's next. So when I hear this stuff about the Call of Duty things, I'm like, I loved it, but it's such a small part of what I do. Just it has, it's the most obvious thing, most visible thing, but I've got hundreds of projects I've done since Call of Duty. A lot of them I love. My favorite role ever is it's a film that hasn't come out yet called Pity, which I just love that role and that character. And I did a short film where I play a dancing cowboy, and that was like my favorite job. It's like, again, so the whole idea is that if you're lucky enough to love what you're doing and you get to do it and you get to make money from it, how can there's no reason to look back. There's no everything. What's next? Oh my God, what's next? What's next? If this was that good, like if the next thing I will do is gonna be bigger than Call of Duty, oh, I can't wait for that to show up. What is that gonna be?
How do you think the industry has changed from when you first started to now? Because you've been doing this for over 2 decades, pretty much.
Great question. In some ways, not at all. In some ways, nothing's changed. Being an actor, being an artist is not a civil right. Nobody owes you a fucking living. Nobody owes you a job. Everybody has to find their way. Everybody has to create something that somebody else wants to buy. And if somebody doesn't want to buy what you're creating, create something else. I talk to a lot of artists, a lot of people. Well, no, this is the most market-based economy ever. Either you have something somebody wants to buy or you don't. And to be pissed off because you don't get enough work or these people are overrepresented or underrepresented, everybody has to fight in and out of the business. And you sacrifice your life for it. I mean, how many actors have good marriages? They usually have 4 or 5. How many actors die early, are addicted to drugs? What's the percentage? It's so much above the average, people who are not in the business. Our average of drug addiction and lifestyle crisis it's much higher. So it comes at a price. So that hasn't changed. What has changed, and again, this is about adaptability. When I was a coach, I just explained to my guys, you can't ever pout or celebrate a play because you got to go on to the next thing. I can't tell you how many goals I see kids miss because they missed a shot and they're banging their stick and they're pouting, and the puck and the rebound comes right to where they would have been had they not quit on the play. And I rolled it into this industry. Like, you've got to be constantly adapting. Like right now, I'm moving into vertical content. That's the new thing, right? And it's just coming to me. Sure, I'll do some vertical content. And that hasn't changed. The adaptability as an artist, you must use your artistic nature in building your career. Your business decisions have got to be get creative. How do I get in front of you? How do I do this? What do I have to offer? How do I market it? How do I brand it? And the way things set, what's really changed about the industry is now so much easier to do this stuff. But because it's easier, there is the ability to make a living at it has really gone down. Because now, you either you're the star of a film, which you're going to make millions, or you're a pawn. You're just a smaller role, and you'll be lucky if you can pay your rent. And I mean lucky. I mean, I know some great actors who are working for $200 a day, guys who have won Emmys and shit. So I did a movie last spring with a bunch of heavy hitters, and we're all making 1,500 bucks a week. That's a tax. It's not a lot of money, and especially if you've been doing it for 40 years and you've got credits. So the industry has really become a it represent the masses very well. You have this super rich version, and everybody else is hustling. The journeyman, the middle class actor is pretty much gone. So that is, again, but that's always been. It's just more of it, and technology is creating, for me, it's creating a lot of opportunities, but I'm also seeing it dry up a lot of opportunities. Like, I used to hire people all the time to do things for me, right? Editors. Now I have AI. It's saving me a ton of money, but I am not giving work to editors and other people because I can just, the computer does it. That's tough, man. Like, that means you have to be more diligent than you've ever been, and being creative and trying to find ways to separate yourself and build something that somebody wants to buy. And that's the mandate. So that's always been there. It's just that that's all changed. Like, how do you do that? Well, you take your phone, you have an entire industry in your phone. You can write, record, edit, process, color correct, and then upload it to a network. You have you're an entire production company and film studio in your phone. Now, what do you do with that? And I think the big mistake that I see a lot of folks making is that a lot of folks think that you got to find an agent. Someone else does the work. Agents just negotiate the deal. Very few agents at the entry level, any other level, can do something for you. Maybe the big five, they can force your hand, but your agent is only as good as your resume. They're only as good as your evidence provides them, tools to work with. And you have this beautiful thing. You have computers and phones. You can create a lot of evidence, but a lot of people think that being in this business is about getting pat on the back and being famous. Yeah, that may happen, but that's not the point. The point is, don't join this fight unless you have the tools and you're ready to be an artist. And it's like, you got to know what you bring to the table. So that's kind of an amorphous answer, but that's what's happening too. Like, there is no one thing anymore. Yeah, lightning can strike, but unless you're wrapping yourself in tinfoil and dancing on a mountain, you got to make sure you make light. You're very attractive to light. Become a lightning rod. So yeah, the industry. man, it's there's going to be a quantum leap in about 2 years, and I think I well, I have an idea. I'm not going to give it away because I worked hard to get it. So there's an idea that I'm not going to give away. I see a trend, and one thing I learned early on is don't give shit away. Like don't give lines away, and keep my mouth shut. And then you keep doing what you're doing. I'm good. You do that over. I'm going over here. So yeah, it changed a lot, but it hasn't changed at all. It's just instead of horse and buggy, we had cars. Instead of cars, now we have Uber. What's after Uber? So everything evolves. I just make sure I'm able to adapt to what's coming next.
This was mentioned a bit earlier, but you mentioned, once you did a certain role, you were being, cast as soldiers and
Yeah.
agents and all that. And someone I was interviewing the other week said it's better to be typecast than not to be cast. And
Fuck yeah.
and I
Oh
wanted
yeah. Yeah.
and I wanted to know, out of it's more of a silly one, but out of playing, soldiers and agents and sheriffs, I'd love to know which one you love the most, or military, or like.
They're like children. I love them all. You know, like I said, they all have aspects that I really enjoy. Like I said before, I have a film that may or may not ever come out. It's called A Pity, and it's just got some beautiful film. Got some great writing, great dialogue, and it was a blast. It was really rewarding to do it. And then I had this short I did a few years ago called Rhinestone Blue, where I played this very, very beautiful film, and I played this kind of tragic but happy widower, and I got the tap dance in it, and it was remarkable. And then I did I worked in Tokyo a couple of times. I love being in Tokyo. So there's always there's always something great in front of us. We just have to choose to see it. And every role offers something that really fills me up. Or I probably wouldn't get it. Even playing a bad guy on Hawaii Five was fun. I got to be in Hawaii. I got to shoot guns. It's just, if you have a playground mindset, they're all great. All the parts are great. There's no part I don't love. You know.
James, I just want to say thank you so much for this interview. I've had an absolute blast talking to an absolute legend in the community. Trust me, like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
mate, thank you so
Well, I gotta
much.
say, you are an absolute delight. You're so well informed. When you do homework like that for your guests, I feel so honored that you took the time to do research, and that shows respect. And I'm grateful for that. You really made this a lot of fun for me, and I gladly do it again because you're a great interview, and you really came prepared, which is you'd be surprised how rare that is. So good job on you, young man. Good job.
I do appreciate the kind words. Every interview I spend way too much time researching, but it also, like, because I have a thing, I have about 30 questions that I have on my side here, and I go through and I pick the best ones out of it. So I'm glad you noticed. I really do.
Yeah, you prepared. That's man. There's no greater show of respect than going into a meeting prepared. That's my okay. If there's one thing that gets me upset about the business, is people who are not prepared. It makes me fucking crazy. I said, no, okay. This is what you do, man. Show up, be ready for everything. You know.